So it's November 12th, and here we are again, playing Python. Somebody had a problem earlier today, and wanted to make sure you can easily note the version here, so you can tell what version you're on. And for Django, I am behind, because this is now released. So it's actually 1.6.0 release. So I should probably update. Not right this second. Well, used to be work. Okay, so yeah, what's going on? Anything? Nothing? Got it all going? Know everything there is to know? Right. Yeah, it was very strange. So I'm glad it didn't give you a problem. So it works for you. It works for you both. So you're on 1.6 and you've done a SyncTV. That's the Python version, not the Django version. Yeah, 2.7 is fine. 3.3 is if you're brave. Because 2.7 is proven and compatible with just about everything on the planet versus 3.3 that's relatively new and has some compatibility problems. But only because it's better than the old one. So of course it has compatibility problems. What else? You know everything there is to know about Python now. I see. We did forms last week. Okay, so that's it. We can all go home now. Yeah, no questions at all, really. Sure. Would you like to do that? Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, what is South? I hear mumblings. South is the Django migration tool. You create a table in a database by going create table XYZ. Right? It's going to create that table in your database for you, right? However, in Django, the way we create tables is, I swear I'm going to shake my fist. Bueller, we create tables with models. A model is a direct representation of a table, and we cause those into existence with what's it, Tuesday's class, yeah. Right, we go manage.py syncdb, and it says creating tables. So it is doing create table XYZ, blah, 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 blah. That's what Django is doing for you as a part of this, so we don't have to deal with that. The question here is store. Okay, maybe we didn't have any. Oh, the name of the app is store. If we have this model, which we've instantiated, let's see if it shows up. Does it show up in the admin? Type. No, so it doesn't show up in the admin. Anyway, we realize it's there, and if we were to do a shell, we can import, let's see, from department models. What was it called? Department. And we see that department is a table, and we also see that department we'll pull the first record, and we'll look at the name of that record, I thought name was right. Is that wrong? List index out of range. Oh, there are no departments. Well, that would explain it, wouldn't it? So let's make one just for fun. Right, and now we can go to departments all, and there'll be one, and we can pull the first record and look and see that its name is test. I'll pause for a moment and make sure you know what I just did, right? We created this model previously. It's one line, it's name, right? We'll have a look at it again here. Really? Right? Has only one thing in it, this line. And if we look at our database, which isn't going to look right, but I'll show it to you anyway. See that there is a table in there and it has name in it. Right? The rest of this stuff is not what we're dealing with. This auth permissions, all that. Anyway, garbage, probably distracting you. Manage.py syncdb creates that table in our SQLite database. The question is, what if we go into our table now and we edit this models.py, which I will do. Bite me. Oh, yes it is. Oh, yes it is. All right, and now we add now you would think I'd just come right out here and it'd be good. Really? Of course. Always while you're demoing. Creating tables? Nothing. So let's see if that's really true. And we're going to go and we'll have a look. No such column address. The table already exists. We added a field to that table, but Django inherently can't migrate from one place to the other. It doesn't know how. So we add South, and what South does is it causes us to be able to make that migration happen. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to move back out. Right? Nothing changed. I changed things, but nothing changed here. So how do we deal with that? We use South. And as you saw, I did pip install South. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to, anybody have a guess? Or am I going to tell it to use South? Yeah, just keep watching me click and don't bother to answer. It's okay. Typical, typical. All right, here we go. Ah! I hate this keyboard. Really, really, really hard. And now we come out here. It's not the same, is it? Right? Because syncdb, as we saw moments ago, should just say creating tables and done. But this time, it said creating tables, created the South migration history, and then said not synced nothing. It didn't not sync anything, but it would if there were a change, which is what we're about to do. So we are going to come back to our models. We're going to add back in that field. And we'll go ahead and hear what it has to say. Man, it's been a while. Uh, I thought it was in it. What auto? They took it out. Okay, fine. We'll do it the old way. Okay, you're gonna make me look it up. I'm gonna look it up. Oh, it's just been a while. I haven't used South in an iteration or two. And I must just not be typing the command in properly. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, auto. That's what I just typed. Oh. It helps if I type it in right. And I believe it's the app name. Yeah. So department. Now it's happy. See this created 001, initial pi. You can now apply this migration. Right? Yeah, except I think I did it in the wrong order. Because I've already uncommented my problem. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to have to try this again. If you don't mind, I'm going to start over. Because I made the change and then I told it to set the initial, but the table doesn't match now, so it's going to try and run and it's going to go, that's not there. So let's just start over here. So, okay, and I'm going to verify to you, I've commented out the extra line, so all we're going to get is name. We're going to do a manage.py, syncdb, like yes, fine, fine, right, and not sync department. So, that's not good. Is Tolucci still working this OS? No. So now, back to where we were. There it is. Of course. What did I do wrong? Don't you love it? This is why you don't do things off the cuff and you prep for your lectures rather than just doing it with no preparation. Yeah, and I hope I've given you the impression I know what the heck I'm doing, but sometimes I wonder. Worked a minute ago. See, it really does not like that. What did I do wrong? It may not like SQLite, maybe? Well, let's get all medieval on it. So it liked that. Okay, now let's see if it'll chill out. Right, it's having a problem creating the folder, it looks like. That's what's going on here. Migrations to return OS module file, module object has to file, but it should. And I'm wondering why not. Okay, so yeah, I'll have to prep and figure out why it's not working and try again.
So you would default to use database migration or you always just use the new database?
What?
If doing your own development, do you always do you not do database migration?
Most of the time I don't migrate. Most of the time when I'm doing local development, I don't bother. However, on our last project, it was to the point where there were hundreds and hundreds of migrations. So I ended up just using the migrations because it's just easier. And this not working causes me all kinds of angst, and I don't like being angst. See? I don't always get it right either. Oh. Well, how's fire? What did I do wrong? Come on. Come on. Oh. Yeah, that's right. And there's our model. All right, so now I want to edit that. I just can't believe it's not working. So it's like, okay, if you're not working, I am going to try again, which is what I just did. I think I called it test project. Did I call it test project? Test project, okay. There's my another test. We're going to open this models. Please tell me you didn't use tabs. Use tabs. I hate you. This is why I don't use Notepad++. Models.char field. Anybody bored yet? Oh, everybody's paying very close attention, so I know I'm not boring anybody. Other than you, it's okay. And now I'm going to open the settings, right, and we'll add this another test to our settings, so it imports, and we'll add, then we'll make sure it's running properly, and then we'll add South as well. Bonk. I think it's test out. Another test. Good for me. I didn't do it right. Okay, we're going to go ahead and make sure that's working properly because I don't trust anything right this second. All right, I created our nice SQLite database. I'm now going to add South. And it's happy with that, which is good. And now we're going to make a change to our models file, just like I did previously when it erred. So if this errors, I apologize. We'll change the subject, and I'll give you another lecture next week on it. But this sure as heck better work right this second. Okay, Control C did not work. There it is. Okay, so we've added one, so now we need to migrate. There it was. Oh, again with the tabs. Unbelievable. I should just reconfigure it and get it over with. It's painful. Okay. Aha! Piss off. Okay, so I got it to work. Why? Because I'm that Django guy. Okay, now as you see here, it created a folder inside our another test, right? We went start app, another test. Now it's got a models in it. We've now made a change to that models folder. In here, migrations now contains data. We're going to go ahead and look at this 001 initial. Shut off the stupid tabs. Here we go. And as you can see, look at this. Here's our address field. So it literally nukes the table and recreates it with now containing address. But it also brings the data with it. So you don't lose data. That's why it's called a migration. So now that we've got that migration file going, we have to go migrate. Isn't that right? Okay, so now I got to double check. Initial, I did that, Oh, I made the change, good. Yeah. So I just need to specify. And, oh, it's another test. No. Oh, because it already exists. You gotta really love it, man. I've now done it wrong twice, and I made the same mistake twice. So you really gotta love it. You have to run this initial before you make the migration, and then again after you've made the migration. That way it has an initial state of the table and what the table's supposed to be both. I didn't do it in that order, right? I made the change and I ran the migration, and it's all like, okay, here you go, and it's not really there. It's full of crap. So it's not, though. See, that's why. It's complicated because you asked me to do it off the cuff. That's why it's complicated. And I just have to do it in the right order, and if you look at the docs, they did it in the right order. And right? First they did the initial, and then they changed the model. So the good news is that every single one of you in this room needs practice in setting up a Django app, and so I'm not overwhelmingly sad that I screwed it up yet again. How many of you are sad I screwed it up again? Nobody is sad. He doesn't care. And now we know we're here, and really? Must be at the top. No? No, there it is. And go ahead and deal with the models file first. Okay, now that's enough. Don't do anything else, Michael. Don't get overzealous. All right, and now we want to open our settings, right? We need to change our settings.py to deal with the Tang app. And now we go to install apps. And now right? Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. You piece of junk. Okay, so now we're going to do an initial, and it's on the app Tang, right? And now I don't want to say it's fake. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, it's, I need to tell it to go without that. I'm really sorry. That's why you don't have me do this off the top of my head. No, that's not what I want. Sorry for the delay. All I am trying is to have it set the initial properly so I don't have to run this migration. Strangely, tell me it's not going to tell me. Still not going to tell me. I need to not do this off the top of my head like I always try and do. I need to actually prep. Once they have changed how it works. Gotta love it. That's why I'm stumbling. I can't get it even out of it because I don't have time. Where the heck is it? Really sorry for the delay and that I don't know off the top of my head why this isn't working. And I still blame Andy. You're not sorry. You wish you were sorry. No, I'm not trying to convert it though. All I'm trying to do is get the initial migration, but without the initial. Man, I wish I remembered how to do this. I still blame you. I still blame you, Andy. No, it's good, Andy. I've been meaning to cover this. That's a fixture, and I'm not passing any fixture. So yes, but no. What I'm trying to do, there it is. Let's see if I can do it. All right. And the reason I needed fake is because I was trying to set up, this is our first run around. All right, now we'll go, and I'll explain that more here in a minute when this actually works. Okay, now we'll do this again, right, because I added a field. Everybody understand that I added a field? We're going to run a migration. Oh, I really hate this error now. Actually, sorry. Let's try that again. Okay, now we run the migration. It's yelling because this is a required field, and we're trying to migrate a table with that required field in it, which means it has to have data. Without data, and it's required, it's going to fail. So that's what it's asking me here. It's all like, it does not have a default specified and yet is not null. Since you're adding this field, you must specify a value. So quit now and add a default in the model itself, or type in a value right now. And what are we going to do? I'm going to select one right now. I gave it test. I filled in the address with test. But now, we can now, okay, all I've done is set up the migration. I haven't actually done the migration. Let's have a look here and see what the folder structure looks like. Temp, Andy, and here's the migration folder. And you'll see there now is another migration there. So I created an initial, which snapshots what the table's like right now, and then I created the next level of migration, which, oh, helps if we open it. Oh, come on. Thank you. As you can see, we've now added address, and it's now adding that in the database. There it is, max length, and all the rest of that. So now that we've set this up, we have to actually run the migration, which is what we're going to do right now. And we need migrate. Oh, no longer requires? No longer requires. Gotta love it. Okay, but now, see, migrating forward, and here we're adding field, and now our loaded, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go ahead and make sure that that actually ran. Manage.py, shell, and from tang.models, import, I forget what we called it. What did we call Andy's model? My model, oh, you gotta love it. And if we look at, boy, that's a convoluted way of doing it, isn't it? Just pop up here, but it's no. So let's just make what? My model objects create. And so they are there. So we do know that both fields are there and they're in the database. So our migration worked properly. You initialize your migration, which is this is the way it is now. You make changes to your table. Then you schema migrate. And then you migrate, which is taking those schema migration files and implementing them. So see, not that hard when I don't screw it up. So just to recap, the way I did this is, oh, really? Pip install south, which I already did once. Then in your settings.py file, you add south to your installed apps. Then you have to run an initial. That's where my model is right now, and that sets your initial migration. And then you fake migrate that because nothing actually happened. We're just the initial table, and we're migrating, but it already exists, so we don't want to overwrite it. So we run fake, and that says, okay, this is where we are right now at initial. Then we make our change. Once we've made our change, we do a schema migration that causes our file, and then we tell it migrate using that, and it runs that migration. Now we can also go migrate without any of this information here, and it would run across all your sub apps and migrate any additional things that you've done in there. Now I want to note that this file here would get checked in with my CL. It would get checked in with my change list. It would get checked in with my pull request. It would get checked in with my commit. I would actually turn it in at the same time that I turn in this models file that I changed. Sorry here. This file, I made changes. I'm sorry. Right, exactly. So that's really great because when you do a code review, you can actually see this file and you can see that it's making change X to the database tables. And before you approve that code review, you look and say, okay, is this actually going to work or is it going to break our system? So it's really good that you can see these things and they're checked in and used nicely from that point forward and stuff. So add south, initial, fake, change, migrate, migrate. I want to say it locks properly, but I would look into it before running it on a live system. I would check before I did that, but yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, some. Can't answer that question quickly. Another really cool thing to know about is Django reversion. And what reversion does, let's see what their explanation is. Comprehensive version control. Roll back to any point in a model's history and unlimited undo. That includes data. So what reversion allows you to do is go back in time, take out records that were added or take out schema changes that were added and go backward in time and look at that, and also do all that directly through the admin. So reversion's a really nice little tool to have involved. Reversion. So, right? I created an app from scratch 3 times today. If I had gotten the South thing right the first time around, it would have gone a lot smoother, I think. But, you know, one thing at a time. Other questions? Yeah. It was my intention to go back over testing again today if we hadn't brought up other things. So that'll be my backup plan for next time around again, is to go through testing. How do you test URLs? How do you test Git? How do you test post? You know, these kinds of things. I glazed over it once with you previously, but I'd really like to do it again. So that would probably be what I would pick to focus on next time around. This discussion of South was fantastic. I wish I had seen it coming. I would have planned a little bit better, but the instructions are pretty good on the South side. If you follow the instructions, it goes pretty smoothly. And after that initial one where you have to fake, it's then really obvious.
Well, my experience has been that it's working great until you mess something up. And otherwise you have to recover that because of creating the new app.
Oh, in South?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Like just like how when you mess something up, and it's just actually just kind of break.
I have been extraordinarily careful and have not broken things using South. No. The answer is that if you know where your table state is right now, and you can get your application to run and talk to the table in its current state, then you run initial, and that resets your South pointer to where it is right now. And then you add things from there and you start the migration process over again. I've had to do that before, for sure. So that's my knee-jerk reaction to how to fix that. But yeah, that sounds nightmarish, very nightmarish. So yeah.
But it's not that only one person should be working on a model and migration at a time, right? With two different people working on that same model and creating a migration, they don't necessarily
You're right.
merge.
You're absolutely correct. And that's where perforce or get come into play, because that way you're not checking things in on top of each other. And South's naming this 002, that should be consistent. So if you went to check in a file and there's already a 002, hopefully that would be obvious and you wouldn't do that, because that would not be good. The other thing is that these are not the only place. There's actually a table that keeps track of that data. So it's not just a matter of, I have this file and I'm done. You actually have to run the migration so it updates the table inside it. So yeah, migrations are a touchy thing, and as well they should be. I mean, most of the time you don't get to shove additional columns into live data tables. It's just not something you do. The system's there, it's established. If you were to try and change it, you'd have to copy all the data out and then make changes and copy all the data back in again. South does all that for you, so it's really, really nice, and took care of a big problem I used to have. Before South, I had to do all this by hand. So yeah, that was not fun. I actually had to go into Postgres and tell it add column and add the column in and then make sure my data was flowing. Wow, that was not fun. But now we have South, so it's definitely better. Okay, that was the problem we ran into moments ago, in that, I'm not closing that, just switch, there you go. Here I added this field, but it's required, so I had to give it a value. If it were not required, true, then when I ran the migration, it wouldn't care. Yeah, that's what I did. And it's actually interesting. In South, you can use variables there. So you could have an increment for each one that it updates. You can also use date time values, so it updates the date when it did that, all of that. So that's why I had to put test in quotes, because it's running an eval on that and actually converts it to Python. So you can do a lot of things. go for, no, that's fine. All right, now we go back out here. Yes. Oh, mother puss bucket. Swear, I'm so sick of, did you expect it? I think you said something, didn't you? Oh, man. Mother puss bucket? Right? Now you get that reference, right? That's Peter Venkman. Okay, yeah, okay, good time. Anyway, let's try this again. Oh, address. It already has that field. Yeah, that's kind of why it's whining. Did the same thing I did previously. And no fake. Now we have another field. See, very simple, very, very easy, especially when I don't make stupid mistakes. Are you done now? That's the way it's supposed to work. See, Andy, it's really easy when it's set up properly and I don't do stupid things in the wrong order. So it becomes really easy for you to deal with that. It also goes the other way around. Ah, come on. Right, now I've removed that field out of there. So it goes both ways. And yeah, super important. Glad you brought it up. Without South, it's really hard. It's really, really, really hard because if you look at some of my projects, I'll have 20 or 30 models, easy. And any change on that would destroy the entire project if we didn't have South. So it really is kind of a nice thing. Good. Any other questions? That's enough for today? All right, all right. Good? All right. So we'll see you next time, and we'll do some more fun stuff again. Thanks for coming.